بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم ما بعد. ونبي موسى الأشعري رضي الله تعالى عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إنما مثل الجليس الصالح وجليس السوء كحامل المسك ونافخ الكير، فحامل المسك إما أن يحذيك وإما أن تبتاع منه وإما أن تجد منه ريحة طيبة، ونافخ الكير إما أن يحرق ثيابك وإما أن تجد منه ريحا منتنة. متفق عليه. This chapter we are dealing with primarily the chapter wherein the ahadith are mentioned which exhort us to always seek the company of the pious and seek the company of those who are engaged in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's remembrance and are engaged in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, the converse meaning behind this, or the converse advice behind this, would be to avoid the company of those who are engaged in ma'asiyat, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's disobedience. In fact, Allah ta'ala tells us in the Quran, Al-akhilla yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'din adu illa al-muttaqeen. Every relationship you have in this world, Allah Ta'ala says, Al-akhilla, your friends, a day is going to come when you are going to realize that if that friendship was based on impiety, on Allah's disobedience, if the company you chose to keep were people who were engaged in Allah's disobedience, then Allah says a day is going to come, Al-akhilla, your close friends, on that day, ba'duhum li ba'din adu, will become your enemies. Illa al-muttaqeen, the only friendship which will remain, the only friendship that will be a source of benefit to you on the day of judgment will be when you're friends with the muttaqeen. When you chose your friends because of their taqwa, because of their fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this hadith, Allah's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as we find in many, many instances, an important lesson or principle of Shariat is explained by means of an example. We must understand that majority of the offer of Mukhatabeen Awwaleen, the first audience of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, were very simple people. And because of that, Allah's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would bring himself down to their level of understanding. And he would give such examples or such parables that anyone can relate to and can understand quite easily. So in this hadith, Abu Musa Ash'ari radiyallahu ta'ala narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا مَثَلُ الْجَلِيسِ الصَّالِحِ وَجَلِيسِ السُّوءِ. What is the example? On the one hand, of you staying in the company of salih, pious people, obedient people, people who are engaged in Allah's ibadat and worship. On the other hand, jalis is su. This word jalis comes from the Arabic word jalasa. Jalasa means to sit. So jalis means who you sit with. In other words, in whose company you are. So jalis is su, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, pious company and impious company. What is the example? What is the comparison? So he said, on the one hand, you have that person who is a merchant of musk. One is perfume. And then one of the most superior forms of perfume is musk, because of its beautiful fragrance. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the example of good company is like a person who is dispensing musk or selling musk. And the example of evil company, nafikhul kir. This word nafikhul kir, literally, if we translate it, obviously it's an example that would be understood in the past more easily. What is literal translation is the one who blows the bellows. What it actually refers to is a blacksmith. Now a blacksmith, what is he engaged in? He is working with steel, placing it in coal in a bellow where there is extreme heat. And in order to soften the steel, mend it, bend it, make something out of it. So because of his occupation, he is always exposed to extreme heat, he is exposed to coal is exposed to soot, is exposed to, more often than not, a terrible odor and smell. So Rasulullah ﷺ said, one hand dispenser of musk and perfume, the other hand a blacksmith. This is the comparison between good company and evil company. And then Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes on to explain, Hamilul misk, the one who is selling perfume, imma an yuhdiyak, either he will give you some perfume. So if nothing else, you'll get something of a sweet smell from him. Or you may purchase some perfume from him. وَإِمَّا أَن تَبْتَعَ مِنْهُ وَإِمَّا أَن تَجِدَ مِنْهُ رِيحًا طَيِّبًا. If he doesn't give you perfume, and you don't purchase any perfume from him, then at least this much benefit you'll get is that when you leave from there, you leave from there with a pleasant and a sweet fragrance. That is the benefit of spending time in the company of those who are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the other hand, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Nafikhul kir, blacksmith, blower of the bellow, imma an yuhriqa thiyabak. Either by staying too close to him, your clothes will get burnt. This is an ajib example. If we look at the depths of the intelligence of Rasulullah Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, words cannot describe it. This is an ajib example. Stay close to those who are disobedient to Allah, and what will happen? The eventual abode will be Jahannam. Allah protect us. That is why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, either your clothes will get burnt in this dunya, you will catch fire by staying too close to a blacksmith, or you will find a terrible odor and smell coming from him. So there will be absolutely no benefit in you staying close to that heat and that terrible smell. Ulama Kiram explained this hadith. They say on the one hand, staying in the company of righteous people, there are multitudes of benefit. One important benefit, and this is something that we cannot overstate the importance of, is that human beings are such that human beings are creatures of habit, and human beings are such that they are, to put it crudely, copycats. So a lot of our values and a lot of our practices are gained from what we call suhbat, from the company that we keep, observing people. If you stay in company of people that are obedient to their parents, more likely than not you will obey your parents. If you stay in company of people that have adab and etiquette, respect for elders, kindness for the poor, then it is more likely than not that same habits will rub off on you. If you stay in the company of people that are punctual, azan goes immediately, there is a sense of urgency that enters into them, then more often than not, it is likely that those same good qualities will rub off on you. Sohbat, you can sit with a book and learn deen. Someone can tell you what is deen and shariat, but the most effective way for you to get good qualities, for you to learn etiquette, for you to learn deen, is by staying in the company of those who are on deen. So this is a very, you cannot overstate the importance of sohbat, of staying in the company of the pious. Stay in the company of those who are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and stay in an environment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's obedience. Conversely, if one has to adopt evil company, then negative sohbat. So you will develop evil habits. You can more often than not end up in a disgraceful situation. And we find there are so many verses of the Quran wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us. Allah ta'ala says, وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصًّا. Ajib. Allah says, when Allah's azab is going to strike the zalimeen, the oppressors, that fitna is not going to be restricted only to them. It's going to affect those that are around them. So if you are in their company, Allah is warning you that inadvertently you might get caught in the crossfire of that azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Elsewhere Allah ta'ala says, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Do not lean towards the company of those who are oppressors. Do not lean towards those who are disobedient towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? If you do so, if you persist, Allahu Akbar, what does Allah say? فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ. The fire of Jahannam will touch you. The fire of Jahannam will touch you. So very, very important, my respected brothers, from a young age, the company we keep. And with regards to our children, With regards to our children, it is part of our responsibility as their mentors, as those who make their tarbiyah, to be very conscious and worried about what company my child is keeping. If your child is keeping company of good youngsters, more often than not, good qualities will rub off. But if he's keeping bad company, we have to take active steps to separate him from such company. Allah give us tawfiq.